Hello, I'm going to introduce you to Anna, who is the facilitator of women, a sisterhood, which is called Empowered Supernova, which is about women who we all have to be, to follow a process in order to empower ourselves. It's very important. And I'm going to ask her about the challenges that she has had in her life. She wants to talk to us about that.
Thank you so much, Susana. That's quite broad, actually. That's quite broad. Yeah, I'm going to tell you about how this Empowered Supernova umbrella, so to speak, has been born, if that's okay with you, because that would clarify the idea, I think, a bit further, and why this is coming to fruition now. We all, as women, as human beings, but I think especially as women, have been going through challenges to our lives. Because let's face it, life is not the same for women and for men, just like it's not the same for one race versus another, or one condition, physical condition versus another. It's just not exactly the same. That doesn't mean that we're limited, it's just that we're starting the race from a different point. Just like in golf, I don't know if you're aware, but golf, if you're a woman or a man, you're starting from a different point. That's all it is, right? And we also view the world depending on our experiences. It's not how things are, it's how we look at them and how we view them. The same experience is neutral, but we can live it in such a different way. And in the journey through our lives, we can decide to look at our thoughts and our behaviors and our decisions from the outside, or we can just play along with it and act according to the program that we have been installed until the age of 7 normally. It has to do with the wavelengths in our brain. The thing, I mean, to cut the story short and not to go too scientific, is until the age of 7 approximately, we are in a state in our brain that the wavelengths are lower in frequency, they move slower, and for that very reason, everything we hear, we believe. There's no filters still, none at all. And we believe everything because we are in a state of hypnosis, sort of. That's why children believe in the 3 wise men or Santa, or you can say to them, oh, I've seen 10 euros behind your ear. And then you just go like this and get them, and they believe that they were 10 euros behind your ear. Because why wouldn't they? They believe absolutely everything. Then filters appear, and those filters depend on what's around us. Overall, our parents or whoever looked after us as children, and also school, religion, leaders, cultural influences, all that has something to play with our programming. Years down the line, we take decisions based on that programming, and we are not aware of that. And it's now, I'm 54 right now, I look back and I see how I took many decisions based on things, on thoughts, on beliefs that really didn't belong to me. They were implanted inside of me, but they weren't me, they weren't mine, they were somebody else's. And I've decided now that they don't serve me anymore. And that's when the concept of empowering other women was born. It was little by little. It was not one day I woke up and I was enlightened and I had this vision. It was little by little. And then I look at the beginning at certain areas of my life, like wealth, health, and relationships. I can look at other areas like bringing up children, conscious rearing them. I can look at relationships, romantic relationships. And I can see that in some of these areas, I am much better off than I could be if I just followed blindly my program. Actually, I followed blindly my program, then I saw the results, then I tweak a bit and I followed a different path. It's constant improvement. And the reason why I want to facilitate this sisterhood is so that we women share our stories together, not to dwell on them, not to play the victim, no freaking way to do that. No, It's just to see, listen, for others to see, I've done this, you can do it too. It's the 100th monkey effect. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yes, yeah, it does. But I would like to know, because when you were talking about the way you brought up your children, you told me that, or we were talking about that, you said that you had followed certain rules that were quite different from, well, rules, so to speak, or a way which was quite different from the way you were brought up. And I just wanted to know, because you are talking about this system of beliefs as if everything came up suddenly when you now that you are in your 50s, but you have been dealing with these matters before, and you have had some challenges in the past as well. You had some challenges.
Oh yeah, because one of my beliefs was that life is struggle. That was one of my beliefs. Why? Well, some people say that the moment that you were born, if you're brought up out of in this world with forceps, we come with that idea already. That was my case. When I was born, the moment that I was coming out of my mother's womb, they knocked down my mother, so she wasn't there for me. My father wasn't there either. So the first breath of air that I took into this world, I was alone. I was really alone. My mother, who was there, was not there. She was sleeping. Not that she wanted, it just happened. But that's the way it was. And it's not the birth. I think there's so much energy and so much information that we bring to this world even before being born. And actually, I had a lady here she calls herself the warm nurse, and she's being in the program with us, and she was telling us stories and how her work has developed based on exactly that, the energy and information that we absorbed before even we're born. The big moment for me in my journey and awakening was when my eldest Jaime was born. That was year 2000. And I suddenly realized that little creature, defenseless, completely dependent on me overall. Of course, he had his dad as well, but babies depend on mothers for biological reasons, right? And he was there in front of me, and I realized how the thoughts that were coming to my mind were exactly the same rules, as you said it before, that my mother would have repeated to me over and over, and her mother before her, and I'm sure that their mothers before. All the feminine lineage, I could feel all that energy coming down towards my little baby boy. And I physically saw like a huge wave behind me, and I put my hands up like this, really, literally, holding all that big wave of information so my child would have a safe environment to grow up with. Because my hallucination was that my baby was perfect and he could download information from the field, if you want to call it that way, like Lynn Taggart says about that. You can call it universe, divine, God, whatever it is. But the blueprint of the field of information where all the probabilities exist, you can cite Schrödinger, whatever it is, right? And my job as a mother was to help all the influences of the mothers before me so that child could grow with his own set of tools and with his own, he could develop all the gifts that he was born with. And that was such a challenge, because challenge number one, I had to cut my mother from being the grandmother that she wanted to be. And I knew how that would pan out if I let her, because I saw how she had behaved with my sister and her own children. My mother is, let's put it that way, is an alternative mother in the sense of her behavior presents some narcissistic, if not many narcissistic traits, which I didn't know until 3 or 4 years ago, but now I know. She is the way it is. She was born that way, or she was the product of her environment, that doesn't really matter. But it's like, you're born blonde, you're blonde. You're born with 4 fingers instead of 5. That's it. So no, nothing against her. I don't blame her for anything. It's just that's what she brought to the table. But thanks to that as well, I turned to be an excellent mother. And I can say that without any hint of pride or anything. And why would I say that? Because my children are happy and they can talk to me about anything, and they know that they are responsible for everything in their lives, every aspect in their lives. They know they are responsible for. They don't blame anybody of anything. I think that's excellent. They look after their bodies, their health, their finances, their relationships, and they're very grateful. So I think that's it. That's the thermometer. Yeah.
Okay, and what can you tell us about the fact that you moved to Ireland? Because I guess that was not an easy step to take, or you wouldn't consider that as a challenge, the fact that you changed your
well, yeah, I consider, as I said before, for me, life is a struggle. That was a belief. I'm in the process of changing that, because it can flow as much as we want. It depends on our thoughts. With my children, I had to make it up as they were growing up. I had no clue. So I read books, I watched videos, and I practiced what common sense told me. And I also observed nature. What does Mother Nature do here? And I just follow nature rather than the advice of my mother or a neighbor or somebody who had 10 kids. That doesn't give you, you see, a certificate of being the best. It's just, that's your way of doing it. So I was playing along and I saw the results. So I was tweaking. So that's the way that I work with my kids. Moving to Ireland was not just, oh, let's pack a suitcase and move there. I lived here in 88, 89. I was in the Erasmus program year 1. And ever since I wanted to come back, because I feel that I belong here. Somehow, at some level, I think I belong here. And to come here with my children took a lot of changes. One change was to, let's put it that way, I swapped their father, my husband, for another partner. Let's put it that way. And it also took to leave my country behind. I know we're only 1 or 2 airplanes away, but still, it was leaving what I was comfortable with, my neighborhood, my region, speaking in my own language all the time, the people that I grew up with, all the comfortable things around life. Even though some were uncomfortable, I was comfortably uncomfortable with them because they were known. And as human beings, we're scared of the unknown. Our brains are wired that way just to keep us alive. So it was a big change. Splitting with my husband was a major pivot point in my life, because it was not just, okay, bye, we're better off if we're split away and that's it. It was cutting with everything that I had believed until now. So again, it's about beliefs. I promised that I could be with my husband until death did us apart, together in the good, the bad, and the ugly, whatever the circumstances. And I got married very much in love. Then, as years passed by, I realized that I was growing in one way and he was growing in another one, and that was divergent. It was not convergent, it was divergent. I tried to come together, but that was not going to happen. And the main fights were in my head, because I had these conversations in my head that I'm sure most women, not most women, everybody has this conversation in my head. Why would you do this? Because, and if only. And you see, we have this over and back. I did only 6th year. and they were fearful of what's going to happen, but everything is just here between our ears, nowhere else. During our separation, I wrote a journal, and I've decided to put it out there, to publish it, so other women could benefit from it. I'm saying women because we are more about feelings and stuff, and men don't tend to talk about that much. But it was beautiful in a sense, because the person that I became after the split is so much more empowered. I'm so in line with who I am now, and I wasn't before. I became a great example, again, I think, for my kids, because if I had continued being together with their dad, that wouldn't have been a good example for them. And the reason is because I want an excellent relationship, and we had a fine relationship. And I said, this is not good enough. What's the standard that I want to set for them? So that was my leverage. Other people need to think, what's your leverage? What is it that you would pull through no matter what? What is that thing that would keep you focused on getting whatever you want to get when things get tough? And that's how I went through. Then coming to Ireland was easier because my new partner is Irish. I think it's universe playing tricks and saying, well, you take one step, I'll help you with another step, and I'll make things happen. And let me just share something really interesting. The house that we're living at the moment is in the north of Ireland. No, Northern Ireland, the north of the Republic of Ireland. I can see the sea from most of the windows. It's just beautiful. And through the rain and in the sun, mostly through the rain, but who cares? It's absolutely beautiful. And one summer back in, I think it was 2008, I think, I took a notebook to the beach. The children were playing in the sand, and I sat down there on the beach, sunbathing together with my then husband. And I got that notebook and I said, let's design our next home. And I started writing down things and drawing pictures and drawing drawings of the house that I wanted to live in. Not the house, the home that I wanted to build. At that same time, my partner now, Owen, he was starting to build this house. The first time that I walked into this house, I started to cry because half of the house is just like my drawings. Just like my drawings. I was drawing it in Spain, somebody was building it already. And if I'm saying this, it's because our thoughts are so powerful. We need to take the steps, and the steps to take, we have them in our heart. If we listen to our heart, we'll take those steps, and then wonders will unfold in front of our very eyes. I could have chosen, oh, it's too messy, to split, and our relationship is fine. There are no third people. We don't have problems with money. We get along just fine. We don't fight ever. We have freedom. And we respect each other. I could have settled for a mediocre relationship, and I didn't. Now we have a wonderful relationship. He is in a relationship himself as well. We talk every week. We get along very well. Last summer, we were all together, meaning himself, myself, my partner, my kids, and my eldest daughter, girlfriend, all together under the same roof. And that is wonderful. So that can happen. All throughout the process, I was envisioning peace and harmony, peace and harmony, peace and harmony. And what we think, we can hold, whether it's material or it's immaterial, like peace and harmony. So that would be my message. We can focus on the negative, or we can focus on an outcome that we want to happen.
All right.
That's a very good relationship. Yeah.
It's a very interesting thought. I mean, that's really, really interesting. But I was wondering more specifically, I mean, if you want to, in which way we can change our beliefs? Because you were saying that this is something that you are in the process to do as well. I mean, you have been doing. Obviously, it doesn't happen from one day to the other one. But I would like to know if you have a specific way in order to change your beliefs, if you are doing something specifically to change that, if you are just trying, you know, and see what happens, instead of following or doing what you are or you were, in the case, supposed to do, you know. I would like to know a bit more about that. How do you make decisions? What do you look at, and how you...
yeah, what's the process behind changing a belief by another one more supportive? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Step number one, Susana, is to spot the belief. And that could take you years. What is the belief behind this? Because we take decisions and we think we're taking decisions with our brain. However, the conscious part is, well, they say between 5 and 10%. And the rest is all under that iceberg that people call, or the experts call, subconscious mind. And we're taking our decisions from there. Therefore, we're not aware unless we make the effort to be aware. So step number one, what is that belief? For instance, you can, talking about work, just to put an example. My preferred option when I finished school was to be a vet because I love animals. My parents didn't let me go some other place to study because whatever the reason, let's leave it that way. So I said, okay, what's my next preferred option? And I thought English because I love English. However, back then I said, I'm not going to be able to live out of English because there are so many people doing English and there are only this number of jobs. I was thinking from scarcity, but I was not aware. And then I said, what can I do that will get me a job straight out of university? And I studied chemistry. And because my thought behind it was, chemistry is a difficult degree to get. There are chemists in every single company. I will never have a problem finding a job. That was my belief. And because that was my belief, I always had a job all the time. Even in times when some other of my classmates with better grades or male, female, or more handsome, with more qualities than me, they couldn't find a job. I could, because my belief underneath was, I will always find a job because I've done this degree and it's a difficult one. And there are always positions out there for a chemist. So I always found it. However, looking back, why did I choose chemistry? I chose chemistry. Well, that was a subject that I enjoyed. But let's put it this way. When I have 10 minutes, I don't read about chemistry. And I never did. Okay, whenever I have some free time. So that decision was based on making money. But I was not aware. It was basically and fundamentally based on the fact that I wanted to get a job to get money. What was that money for? To leave home. So what was underneath is, I don't want to live with my parents. I need to get out of here. And the way to get out of here is to make my own money. What was underneath that? I want freedom. If I ever find a mate, a boyfriend or a possible husband or whatever, a partner for life, I don't want to depend on them because I want to be free. But I didn't know that. I only know that now upon reflection. So the decision of having that degree, of the boyfriend then husband that I chose, was based on, I don't depend on you. I value my freedom more than anything.
And what do you think you would have done
number one,
in the case that you, sorry to interrupt you, what do you think you would have done in case you had known about these things at the time? Do you think you wouldn't have started the same thing? Because at the end of the day, being free, having your own freedom, not being dependent on someone, is a very good point, isn't it? So what do you think you would have done if
Mm,
you had been aware of that at the time?
well, I don't know what I would have done if I were different, because I was not different. What I can say, however, is that because my children have been brought up under a different light environment and with a completely different kind of information, is I can tell you what they do. They based their decisions into what they love most and where they can add value or not. Where can they be more useful? Overall, the eldest, he's in university already. And he says, I don't see, he's studying business now. And he says, I'm thinking about this because I'm not sure if I can render the most of myself, if I can add more value by doing this degree, or if I can use my time in a different way. I need some time to figure this out. But he doesn't feel the pressure. He didn't choose a degree only based on the money that he was going to make. He said, well, I like businesses, I'm going to do this. And next step, now that he's in university year 2, is how can I add more value? And he's already learning all the things, many other things, from physics, biology, stock market.
So you think that maybe a very interesting, because you have said something, you are saying a lot of very interesting things, but you believe that if you know, I mean, if you really like something, you devote time to that in your free, I mean, you devote a part of your free time to that as well. So a key, something that can help us to know that we are not doing what we really love, can be that every time you have free time, you never think, you never consider to do something. I mean, except if it is compulsory, you know what I mean? You think it can be a key for us to know if we are doing what we love, or because that's a very interesting point, how to know that you are doing something where you can add, as you say, more value and do something that you really like, you know. Because I hadn't thought about it that way, but I think it's a very interesting point, the one you made. That's the reason why I'm asking you.
Mm-hmm. The reason we haven't even finished yet how to change the beliefs. Well, we'll go back there later on.
Sorry.
Okay. There, I would like to be able to speak 5 concepts at the same time and develop them all at the same time. But let's go back to that. Yeah.
Yes, one point.
Listen, the way that I've just got this image. Imagine that we were born a snail. We were born a snail. What is a snail good at? A snail is very good at sliding slowly on top of leaves and eat them with their foot. Yeah, the sliding part is called foot, and they eat there. They're very good at that. But then the mother of this snail, let's imagine that is another animal, right? It's a cheetah, just mixing species or whatever. So the cheetah mother of the snail wants the snail to be another cheetah. Do you think that snail is going to be good at being a big cat? No way. The snail was born with certain traits. And if the mother, say father, say society, say culture, it's focus on the snail and telling the snail, you should behave like a big cat. You should behave like a big cat. You should do the things that a big cat does. And for you to be successful, you should check all the boxes that big cats do check. How is the snail going to feel? Disempowered, depressed, angry, frustrated, sad, you name it. And we're doing the same with children. You have children and you teach children. Some children are born with high quality or a big gift of, let's say, music, and they sing very well, or they are very good with instruments, or are very good at composing, or whatever it is. They go to school, and when they go to school, they say, okay, the music class, that's not so important, that's maths, physics, chemistry, IT, whatever it is, right? And because you're good at music, forget about that one. You don't need to grow into that one because you're good at that already. Focus on keeping better at English, Spanish, whatever language, maths, physics, so that you are what? Average. And that's us telling that guy who was born a cheetah to be a snail. Instead of saying, you are a star for music, let's develop that gift. And if you develop that gift, you can be the cheetah running like a cheetah. Not being a snail, not a snail being a cheetah, not a cheetah being a snail. You're a cheetah and you're going to be like a cheetah. Let's develop that gift. Run on the prairie. Hunt. Lick yourself. Do the things that you are good at and get excellent at doing that. And then with time, if you develop your gifts, you're going to become very talented, because that's what happens. If you put hours on top of the gift, there's no other way out. And at that moment, you can hire somebody to do maths for you and to clean your kitchen and to do your accounts. And you don't need physics for anything. Plus now we have Google. So that's my point. Let's work on the gifts that we have. In my case, I devoted so many hours, 20 years of my life, to work as a chemist in a lab, in a consultancy firm afterwards, and I was doing that. I enjoyed some parts of it, but mostly I was just going there, 95% for the money. Why do I know that? Because if I had had the money, I wouldn't have been going to the lab. However, I love writing books. I write books even though I don't sell them, because I love it. I hope that they can add some value, and that's what's coming from my heart. There will be a day when they will get out there, and if they help one person, mission accomplished. If they help two, I would be so grateful. And if they help 10,000, fantastic. But I'm doing that no matter what. And that's what I would like to let other people know. Do what's in your heart. It can be 10 minutes a day. It can be 10 hours. It depends on how much time you have, because I understand that we need to pay the bills, and that's it. If you have a kid, or if you have yourself and you have to pay the bills, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But we always have 10 minutes to dedicate to ourselves and to cultivate and improve our gift. And that's our responsibility. Otherwise, we're going to be in our deathbed saying, oh, I wish I had ... Work more hours in the office? Hell no. I wish I had tried. Why didn't I write that book? I always wanted to write that book. I always wanted to, I don't know, climb the Kilimanjaro, whatever it is. And that's an example for others. We think that, oh, that's a waste of time. Imagine climbing the Kilimanjaro. I'm already 62, for instance. But that would be piercing the veil. That would be an example for maybe just one person, maybe 1 million people, we don't know. But in us giving ourselves the permission to do what's in our hearts, we put that information out there in the field for others to pick it and for others to say, hey, she did it, I can do it too. And that's fulfillment and joy and gratitude. And when that fills our soul, it feeds ourselves, and we have more energy to do other things as well. So even if we're in an office, stuck and working there 9 to 5, if we do these things that we have been preset, that we have chosen, I have no doubt, before we were born, then we are showing the universe that we love ourselves and that we are congruent with, call it God or divinity or whatever, because it was the divinity that put those gifts in us. If we don't use them, we're wasting them. That's what I think anyway.
Yes,
Am I beating around the bushes, or am I answering what you said?
We all understand, probably. I understand because it's not a problem. I have asked you a very global question, because this question about our beliefs is difficult to, sometimes might be difficult just to first of all, to know about what our beliefs are, that sometimes we are not aware of them, and to know from where we are making decisions, if it is from our heart or if it is from taking into account what we have been told at home or by our society. I do believe as well that if you really love something and you do what you love, you will get a job on that, or something similar, or at least you will be doing your best in order to get it. And if it is not your destiny, is okay. You will consider that okay, but at least to do like the most, because you are going to spend many hours working, for instance, at work. That we are talking about, giving that example, which is so important, because we all have to work, except people who are millionaire, I guess, that maybe they don't have to, or they have to because they have to manage their own money, or to well, you always have things to do regarding, I mean, on a daily basis, I guess. And it's good if you do it, if you do what you like, probably you are going to feel much more energetic and with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And if you do what you don't like, probably your energy is going to be used. So then that's important point that you have pointed out as well. Okay, is there anything else that you would like to say? Some other aspect of your life, challenges, anything else that you would like to talk about before because of course I was going to ask you as well if there is a way to contact you for people who are some women who can be watching this video and would be interested in contacting you. And
yes, thank you very much. I would like to add something more on the beliefs, because it was a little bit hanging there. Step number one was look at that belief and pick it. What's that belief? What's underneath? Why am I don't know, caught in the toilet paper? Instead of 3 boxes, I'm getting 4, or instead of 4, I'm getting 2, because I believe in scarcity, because I believe that there won't be enough tomorrow, whatever it is. Those beliefs, once you pick them, and that's the most difficult part. The second one is this true? Just ask yourself, is this true? And if it's only one belief a day, wow, the difference can be massive, because it's more than 300 a year. So is this true? Just ask yourself that. Is it true that I won't have tomorrow? If I use 2 pieces of toilet paper instead of 4, is it true that tomorrow I won't have toilet paper? Look back and say, was there any moment in my life when I didn't have toilet paper? And if I didn't, did I manage? Yes. And then turn around and look at nature. Where's the scarcity in nature? I don't see scarcity anywhere. Anywhere. If you look at a tomato, how many seeds are there inside a tomato? And out of each one, there's the potential of having one plant with loads of tomatoes with loads of seeds. Nature is abundant, and we are abundant as well. There's enough. There's enough for all of us. If we can, but we get what we think. Everything that's around us is what we have created in the past, thinking that this is the future that I'm going to create. Everything is exactly the same as yesterday. If I do the things exactly as I did yesterday, if I have exactly the same thoughts that I held yesterday, nothing is going to change ever. Nothing. I'm talking big picture, right? I mean, you can break your nail, and even though you didn't think about it, but so number one is spot your beliefs. Number two is think, is this true? And number three, I would say, just to keep it simple, think the things that you want to change. Start thinking, do the exercise of mentally rehearsing. What is it that you would like to change? And then, most importantly, feel as that. If you say to yourself, oh, I live in scarcity, just to keep going with the same example. I live in scarcity, and tomorrow there won't be enough, and the world is going to end, and there won't be toilet paper in the supermarkets, and you see, I'll never be able to get another job again. If that's what you're thinking and you're feeling that way, oh, well, that's what you're going to get, because you're not ready and you're not emitting that energetic signal out there that will match the abundance that you want. If you're thinking negatively, you're going to get the same thing. It's physical. It's not that you believe or not believe in flower power. It's that as a scientist, I'm saying that to you. If we emit like a radio station, one particular wavelength, we can only be heard at the same particular wavelength. That's the way it is. If we dial one number in our phone, only the owner of the phone with that number is going to pick the signal, nobody else. So it's just the perfect match. What we can do is little by little, because I know it could be scary because it's unknown, think, what would it be, for instance, a job that I would like? I would like a job, and then pen and paper, write down, describe exactly what you would like. I would like a job in which I can travel the world, I can use English, in which we can, it's a team of people working horizontally, not the one on top taking that, or having the one below working for them, and just the triangular structure of any company. I would like to work sideways. Based on the money that I would get, it has no roof. It's based on the results that I get. I want to be able to write books. I want to get to know beautiful people and attend seminars. For instance, that's the job description. So write that down. Just write it down. And then say, when I get this job, how would I feel? And write it again. I would feel empowered, worthy, in bliss. I would feel that my life has some meaning. This is just an example. It could be whatever it is, right? So do that exercise and be in that space for a little while every day. Just feel that. How would I feel when I get this job? You're hurting nobody. You're just creating a life, a job, a situation that you really would like to experience, but you need to feel that. How does it feel? And we need to feel that before the event has happened. As Joe Dispenza says, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. It's not about saying thank you, I've got it. It's about saying thank you before we've got it, because we know that it's there already. So that's a way of changing your thoughts. I really recommend pen and paper, and even read things out loud, because that way we're hearing them. If we heard ourselves, if we were listening to our thoughts out loud coming from another person, what would we say? Sometimes, you see, we don't treat ourselves so nicely. Oh, you look at that fat ass, you big old cow. Yeah. Or things like that. Or oh, why the hell did you say that? That's so low vibration. Or why are you playing the victim? We would say that to ourselves. So let's put them out loud, because here it's like safe. Let's say what we think out loud. And by hearing it, we will see, Jesus, did I really say that? How's that true? How's that serving me? If it doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve others. We've been brought up, Susana, in, at least you and I, in this society in which talking good about ourselves, getting good results was seen as pride, was seen as don't show off. Yeah. So it's like keep ourselves down. But we're serving nobody. We're not serving ourselves by playing small. We're not serving others by playing small. We don't. It's not about being proud of, oh, I'm so good and you're not. No, it's about, these are my cards and I've played them this way. And by me playing them the best way that I could, I'm giving you permission to do the same. And there's no conflict, because every person has a set of attitudes and traits which complement one another. We're not here to fight one against the other. If I make money or I gain fame, that doesn't mean that you don't get money, you don't get fame. There's enough money, enough fame, enough attention, enough spotlights for everybody. There's enough for everybody. So we can live from disempowerment or from empowerment, and we can choose. And that's a very empowering thought, that we can choose. Yeah.
Okay, yes, I completely agree with you, and I think this is a very interesting point of view, because we always believe that if we think about something big, we don't deserve it, because it means that we are other people is going to lack the same things. And we have, if you have studied economy, I remember when I was studying economy at university, that they said that all the resources were limited, and I think this is one of the probably the most stupid things that you can learn. In the sense that I understand, but I don't understand if, because we all have different talents, and if we choose, if everybody chooses the talent that he or she has, not everybody would. If you want to, for instance, to give conferences all around the world, not everybody would be happy doing that. So
Exactly.
fortunately, we have people like different things and different subjects and different objects and different, fortunately. So I mean, we wouldn't be fighting. There would be plenty. I think.
Exactly. And I think it comes from what is it that I want to do? Because for some people is, sorry?
Sorry. No, I was going to
Can you hear
say,
me?
as long,
Oh, yeah.
as long as we aren't greedy, you know, that nothing is enough. I mean, that's another issue, that you are doing something that you like and you are earning some money, or you are earning something and nothing is enough for you. Then in this case, maybe you're going to have a problem, but not because of the limited. I don't know, hey, if you agree, or that money is the most important issue instead of being happy. I don't know. I think if you are really happy with what you do, and money is not so important. I mean, it is in the sense that you pay the bills, but in the moment where it doesn't become so important, probably you will have plenty. Because the problem for me is when you focus on something, a material thing, in a way that, from a different perspective, probably. You know, I don't know if you agree with this.
Oh, totally. I completely agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. It's, if we go after the money is going to elude us. And that's my experience. If we do things from our heart because we want to add value, money is going to meet us. Because the signal that we're putting out there is, I want to serve. And then the universe is going to conspire so that you can serve. It's adding. I'm not saying that everybody out there speaking from stage is adding perhaps all the value that they can, and they're making tons of money. Well, so be it. It doesn't matter, but that doesn't take anything from anybody else. There are 8 billion people here, and some need one thing, some others need another thing. But yeah, coming from the heart and wanting to serve, of course, there should be an exchange of money, because it's just energy. And as you said, I would love to be speaking from stage. Is it because I want to be in the spotlight and, you see, post it on Facebook and here and there? No, it's because what I have learned in my life, I think it's very valuable, because I have seen the results over all of my kids. I can see them there. And if more kids in the world are brought up like mine, and it's just a system that we can apply, then the world is going to change, because we would have a generation of people who are responsible for themselves, rather than another generation of moaners saying, oh, government, pay me for this, or I need this, I'm on the dole. Or I know that some people cannot find a job, but if you make yourself responsible and say, I have the power, not only the responsibility, I have the power to change my life as I know it now. That's a system that can be taught to our kids. And we can change the world little by little, or many at a time. So I think that's a very powerful lesson that we can learn, that we have the power, we have the responsibility as well. It's not overwhelming, it's powerful. I can, and I should, because I can, and that's good for me, and that's good for others. And it's just magic. Then things will happen. I'm not saying it's going to be completely easy or with no effort whatsoever, but it's different. When you're doing something that you love, you're not looking at the watch and saying, oh, 1 more hour to go. No, but when you're in a job that you're going there only for the money, oh, hell, you do look at the watch and say, when will it be Friday? There's a difference in the energy.
Of course, even if you like something a lot, you need some free time to spend with your family. But I think I understand what you mean. It's not like saying, if it is just 4 hours, it's time, so I'm leaving. Because you really like what you are doing.
Exactly.
mind spending some more minutes or whatever. We don't mean that we are going to be working the whole time, even if we love what we do. I suppose you mean that.
Yeah, and I've seen many people, and not that young anymore, and they say, I don't know what I love doing. I don't know what's my mission. I don't have a clue. And to those people, I would say, when you have some spare time, what do you do? If they just watch telly and drink beer, maybe they need some time out to think, what is it that fills me up and gives me a lot of joy? And it could be walking in nature. How could I serve others doing this thing that I love, like walking in nature? And you might think, well, I could invite somebody to come for a walk with me and I will be serving this person. It doesn't always have to turn into a job or mission. It could be small missions along the way. Not everybody has been called to be a Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey, you see, or Mother Teresa. Each person has their own space where they can shine 100%. And it doesn't mean that by shining our talents, we need to reach 8 billion people out of the 7 billion out of the 8 billion. It could be one person, it could be 2 people. And that's it, and that's perfect, and that's the order of the universe. We have ants, and we have bacteria, and we have viruses, as we will know, and we have elephants, and we have whales, and they all play different roles, and everything is perfect and is in balance. It doesn't mean that the ant, because it's small, is less important. Everyone has its own importance and plays a vital role in each one of the steps. So there's no order of importance, or, you know what I mean? It's all perfect and divine. That's how I see it anyway.
I have another question for you. When you are planning about bringing up your children, and you have, in your case, for instance, you had all these ideas in your mind, or all these thoughts, or you started from scratch, but you managed to develop all these different stages. Did you have any problem with your partner? Because sometimes many people believe, and I agree on that, I don't know if you do, that it's very important that parents are bringing up the children together. And many times it happens that maybe they receive different information from either parent, and then it can be a bit confusing for them. And I don't know if there is a way to negotiate about this, or to talk about it, or if things should be left as they are, or just if it is advisable to organize.
Yeah, I think that in the basics, it would be very important that both parents agree on those basics. Then tiny little things is just up to each one of the parents, because that wouldn't mess up with the values that they are ingraining in their children. What I mean is, you can sit down with your partner and say, when you have a child, let's agree on certain places where we won't go and certain places that we really want to go to. And it could be, are we going to fight against the kids? Are we going to agree on what and how? Are we going to play against each other to put one another in a bad light? When the child comes to me asking for permission, am I going to discredit what you said? That's I think that it's very, very important, and there should be some foundations that will never shake, because children are going to push our boundaries, and we need to be very sure and very certain and very specific and very strong on those boundaries, and those should be unshakable, because that way we're serving them. So yeah, the values that we want to cultivate in our kids, we should apply them ourselves to begin with, and I think it's way better that we agree on those ones. If let's say that yesterday I was talking to Owen about the kids learning to dress themselves, right? It's just a way of empowering them. And I was telling him, I remember going to the swimming pool, and I remember that there was this boy who was 10 or 12 or something like that. And he was just standing like this with his arms up and his legs stretched out, and his father was dressing him up. And he was nearly as big as his father. And I just looked at them in disbelief. My kids were 5 and 3, and they were dressing themselves. I was just giving them the things to make sure that nothing got wet or fell on the floor, but that was it. They were getting dressed with the polo shirts inside out and back to front and whatever way, shoes on the other foot. I would just point that out for them. But I was empowering them because they got dressed by themselves very early rather than me doing that. And that's just a little example. If my husband were behind me getting them dressed, I would be doing something that in my opinion would be empowering them, and he would be undoing what I was doing. So we had to agree. And that's a small thing. The dressing or not dressing, but what's behind the value is let's empower our children. That must be agreed. Let's empower our children. Don't undo what the other one is doing. So yes, I completely agree with that.
Okay, so if you want, Anna, because I think everything has been very interesting. It has been really great to interview you, and
thank you.
I've learned a lot. I am sure many other women will as well. And I was wondering if you could give us, as I said before, maybe your contact details so other women can,
sure,
if they want to, or if they.
Yeah, they can contact us asking for topics that they would like to know more about, or they could volunteer to be interviewed. That would be awesome. And they can share their comments. Whoever doesn't like these interviews or this channel or these ideas, I would say be respectful, move on to another one. Don't discredit us, don't waste energy saying that you don't like it, okay? We welcome constructive comments of, I think that, or have you considered doing this other way, but don't destroy anything because there's no point. I'm contactable on Facebook, YouTube. I have a channel there, Twitter and Instagram, and everywhere you can find Empowered Supernova, 2 words, Empowered Supernova. So we're welcome to any comments, any women, men as well. It's just that we women are more into emotions and stuff like that, but men are very, very welcome here as well. This is all about empowering in any area. And what was I going to say? What I was going to say is that I want to thank you, Susana. You're the first one who said, hey, what about interviewing you? And I said, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some points with our network and our sisterhood, this sisterhood that is here to support one another. We're here to support one another and to grow together. We're here to do the best that we can and to think how we can improve. We're not here to dwell in the problems. They're a thing of the past. Let's think how we can improve whatever the situation is. And we will realize that, as Einstein said, you cannot sort out or solve any problem at the same level of consciousness that it was created. We need to step a little bit higher up. The moment we step a little bit higher up, then we realize, oh my God, that wasn't even a problem. So if we can help you do that, well, we would have hit the nail in the head. Thank you very much, Susana. Thanks
to you. My pleasure.
Okay. Love you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.